Hello everybody, how you doing? It's Damon yet again with another video, and this time I want to talk about the top 20 worst results or worst booking decision in wrestling. Basically did it yesterday, basically did the list, and I just want to clarify one thing is uh one of my qualifications in this is not basically worst booking idea doesn't mean a worst angle or worst heel turn. An heel turn or face turn, it's not related to this. It's between match results that happen, not match results that did not happen. So, so basically, I just want to clarify this. So, number 20th, it'd be Chris Jericho beating AJ Styles at WrestleMania 32. AJ Styles just debuted at the Royal Rumble 2016, and honestly, is the one thing I remember the Royal Rumble 2016 for, not Triple H winning, but AJ Styles debuting. And I thought it was an epic debut, this one. And for the following months or so, he tends to win, keeps on a winning streak. He lost one to Chris Jericho, but then beat him again in a rubber match. But then turns out that Chris Jericho turned heel after a short Y2AJ tag team of a week that was supposedly just a throwaway, basically from Jericho to troll the crowd. And then you go to WrestleMania, you think AJ Styles is going to end up winning? Nope. Surprise, WWE trolls you and have Chris Jericho win. Chris Jericho has an history in WWE of honestly losing way too often when he should have won. And it's kind of funny, the times he did win at WrestleMania, I thought was wrong. Well, some of his win at WrestleMania that should have happened, and some of the wins that should have happened didn't. For instance, Jericho should have lost to AJ Styles, considering that the next day in a fatal four-way with I think Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, what was I think was Kevin Owens, Chris Jericho, sorry, AJ Styles and Cesaro. They all fought for the number one contendership to Roman Reigns' new WWE title, and AJ Styles just pinned Chris Jericho, basically nullifying this win anyway. So why couldn't AJ win twice in a row against Chris Jericho? That to me is befuddling. Number 19, WrestleMania 27. Michael Cole defeats Jerry Lawler at WrestleMania 27 via disqualification, via reverse decision. It's one of the worst matches in WrestleMania history. But couldn't you have given us a happy ending that match where basically it could have been a 5 minutes match in which Jerry Lawler squashes Michael Cole. Maybe there's basically a time when basically there's some shenanigans that lets Michael Cole have a 2 minute maybe lead. Then afterwards gets destroyed and the match ends. Could have all easily been that, especially when Daniel Bryan and Sheamus was kicked off the card for no reason. You could have easily made a match of Michael Cole versus Jay Lethal, a 5 minute match. It didn't need to be nothing else. But no, alas, you wanted to screw with the crowd and have Michael Cole still win for no reason. Anyway, that's that crappy WrestleMania, one of the worst WrestleMania of all time. So, but don't worry, there's plenty of WrestleMania bad booking decision there. Number 18, Triple H beats Kane at No Mercy 2002. Kane was, pardon the pun, but very hot at that time. He was the Intercontinental Champion. He was World Tag Team Champions with the Hurricane, and there was some buzz about him winning the world title on it, having all three titles on him at the same time. And I thought that could have been nice. I mean, they did take up the World Tag Team titles 1 week before, and so I thought, okay, but they're gonna put the singles title on him. Nope. Triple H beats Kane for no other reason that basically politics, and he mentioned one show, one champion. And it made no sense whatsoever. So that's basically for No Mercy 2002. Number 17, Shayna Baszler gets beaten by the WrestleMania 8 Piper Brett roll up by Becky Lynch at WrestleMania 36. It's not the worst match. The match was fine from a WrestleMania I will not visit again. But the fact you built a whole Elimination Chamber with Shayna being the only person to ever win an Elimination Chamber match by defeating everybody else in the chamber. The closest thing we had was Braun Strowman, basically at that Elimination Chamber 2018. Apart from that, nobody else dominated the Elimination Chamber. So I felt if there was ever a moment to basically give Shayna Baszler the women's title, that was it. But then she lost and say, okay, she lost her roll up. Cool. When's her rematch? She never got a rematch. And since then, she's been relegated to women's tag team titles divisions. I mean, Shayna Baszler at a moment in time, I'm not saying she should have been a champion for the longest time. I think after 2022, she shouldn't have been the women's title division. But 2020, 2021, I felt like that could have been a prime peak for her to be a women's title champion, women's champion, and maybe a women's title contender later on. But that's me. Okay. Number 16. Non-turn 16, it's a tie. So it's in 2011, Christian losing the world title to Randy Orton at the SmackDown After Extreme Rules 2011. Despite all of this, despite what I said about WrestleMania, if anything I've noticed during my patterns, my list, it's often during the PG era. The booking decisions are beyond frustrating at times. Like, Christian just won the world title at Extreme Rules, was super over, people loved him. This was the time to make him a main eventer. So of course WWE decides, hey, Randy Orton is going to win the championship the very next SmackDown, and we're going to turn Christian heel afterwards. So he only lasted 5 days as world champion as a face, loses the title, wins it back as a DQ, which is great to win it back in a DQ as a heel, but you should have basically made a face run a bit more substantial before you gave him an heel run. And even the heel run was a month. So it's like a month and a week as world champion Christian. This is how they value Christian. I've said it before and I said it again. WWE, Edge overshadowed by a lot Christian. In AEW, it seems like Christian overshadows Edge. Or Christian overshadows Adam Copeland. Sorry. But Christian deserved better, and his character had legitimate right. Like, why should I defend his title right away after an excruciating TLC match? You could have given him a week to rest and say, hey, next week you defend it to Randy Orton. No, it doesn't happen. You could have given him a bit of... It's basically WWE really taking a favorite from the fans and saying, yeah, you shouldn't cheer for him. He's a loser. Cheer for this guy instead. People can say WWE right now can be sometimes stale or boring, but they're not as frustrating as this. I feel like today's WWE's wrestling is actually good. I'm not saying it's always great, but it's not frustrating to all hell. And if there are some times where it's so frustrating in WWE right now, it's seldomly. It's not consistently like it used to be. And also, people can complain about Goldberg, but I always felt like Goldberg was a badass. In WWE, he was a badass. 2003, 2004, he was a badass. In 2016, 2017, was a badass. Afterwards, I grant you that. But until then, if you ended Goldberg's run there, I felt like nobody really could complain about his run. And as much as I love Bret Hart, I love you, Bret, but Goldberg's kick is not the only reason why you had to retire. It's because you kept on wrestling after all the damage you had in your body. Basically, it's like, okay, let's be honest, the kick didn't help. The kick from Goldberg didn't help, but he wasn't the main culprit there, because Bret had some hardcore match with Kevin Nash and Terry Funk, in which one of them he actually fell on his head during. Goldberg was nowhere near to be found that time. So I'm sorry, but this narrative of Goldberg retired Bret, BS. Show me the same animosity towards Shinsuke Nakamura, who injured Austin Aries, Tino Sabotelli, and dropped John Cena on his head in around the same year. No? Then stop it with double standards. Anyway, let's go to Goldberg. Goldberg, talk about Elimination Chamber, was an Elimination Chamber at SummerSlam 2003. He was running through everybody. Yeah, sure, Nash was already eliminated by by Chris Jericho and Shawn Michaels. But the moment Goldberg came in, he destroyed everybody else. He destroyed Randy Orton, pinning him with a spear. Destroyed Shawn Michaels with a jackhammer. He ran through Jericho through one of the glass sheets and gave him a jackhammer. 1, 2, 3. And you think, okay, Triple H injured. It's a great time for him to be eliminated in short order. It's win-win for him. He gets beaten, he puts somebody over, and he takes a hiatus for recovery. He look also weird and ridiculous with his biker shorts, but no, Triple H only did one move in the match. He didn't win a sledgehammer 1, 2, 3, and it's bad enough that he lost there. It's bad enough that Goldberg lost there, but you had several minutes after the match where Goldberg took a licking, and it's like you you got to be kidding me. I mean, WWE really doesn't know what Goldberg brought to the table, like what made Goldberg Goldberg. And people with revisionist history goes, "Oh, he always sucks." We're just stupid. Tell me how you don't like to make money without saying you don't like to make money. And if you don't believe me, go ask AEW's Dynamite's last rating, which you probably love and rave at. Oh, low blow, isn't it? Anyway, Goldberg at that time should have won. Sure, he won the next month, but the next month's like, It was following Goldberg losing to an handicap match against Evolution, which is like, let's make Goldberg as normal as possible, not the badass machine that he is. That was stupid. So yeah, that was the next one on the list. So now that was number 16. Another Elimination Chamber. Number 15, Braun Strowman losing at Elimination Chamber 2018. Remember that match? Remember that match when basically you had Braun Strowman, the only 7-man Elimination Chamber match. You had Braun Strowman, you had Intercontinental Champion The Miz, you have John Cena, Roman Reigns, Elias, Seth Rollins, and Finn Balor. And at first, okay, Elias the last one basically to leave this chamber, and I think he was the first one eliminated, if I'm right, if I'm not mistaken, by Strowman running power slam. Afterwards was The Miz. Afterwards, surprisingly, was John Cena. Yes, Braun Strowman pinned John Cena. Then it was Finn Balor. Then it was Seth Rollins. And afterwards, it was down to Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns. The fans were behind Braun Strowman. People were behind Braun Strowman. And Roman Reigns came out and he beat the guy that destroyed everybody else. But honestly, he beat them after the monster was weakened from everybody else's finisher. It didn't mean as much. It's basically the same thing as winning a gauntlet match when your last one entered it. It means really nothing. If anything, I think made Reigns even more hated. Because Strowman was the guy who should have gone to WrestleMania. And if you're not going to do that, if you weren't willing to go all the way with Strowman there, then why put him in the match? Again, unbelievable. I mean, the last years of Vince McMahon was basically just delusional booking. At best. At best. But that's number 14. Number 15, sorry. Number 15. Sorry, so that was 15. Sorry, number 14. See, I'm getting so agitated, I forgot my numbers. 14. Chris Jericho beating Edge at WrestleMania 26. Why, oh, why do I hate this decision? Okay, Edge won the Royal Rumble 2010. He returned at Royal Rumble. It was a glorious moment. He won the Rumble. And I was very happy about this. And Chris Jericho won the world title. So you see a great, easy story to make between the two. Edge and Chris Jericho, sorry. But Chris Jericho is one, again, like I said before, one of the team I mentioned, Jericho won when he shouldn't have had. Well, that's one way he shouldn't have won. He should have lost the title. I know that Jack Swagger cashed in. And by the way, it might just be a tie because Jack Swagger winning Money in the Bank that year was not exactly the greatest decision he could have gone into Christian. And the fact that Jack Swagger couldn't get the briefcase in times pretty much proved my point that he shouldn't have won that year. Or any year. But anyway, Jericho shouldn't have won because Edge wasn't the most popular babyface, but was very popular. And the moment he lost, he just snuffed out all the momentum of Edge. He had to turn heel briefly again so he could turn face later on that year again. It's like having a redo of a face turn, and it was so useless. So that's number 14. Number 13, I'm going with TNA, and it's a tie again because I can't. And it's from the same year, 2005. Jeff Jarrett beats Monty Brown at Final Resolution, 2005, I think, or 20 years ago. I remember Monty Brown won a three-way match in the same night to be number one contender. I thought, hey, he's going to wrestle twice. Why shouldn't he win the world title then? But lo and behold, I mean, he's going to match. He kicks out of one stroke from Jeff Jarrett. So you think, oh, okay, he's going to win. No. Later on that match, Jeff Jarrett delivers a stroke from the second rope, 1, 2, 3, and Jeff Jarrett wins the title. Sorry, retains the title. And afterwards, that's such a great idea to decide, hey, we're going to turn Monty Brown heel. Why? Why? It's like the moment we turned heel, he wasn't the same again. And the same year, just as bad as this, or for some people, that actually is worse than the one I'll bring up, Jeff Jarrett beating Rhino. I think it was the Impact or two impacts after Rhino won the world title from Jeff Jarrett, the very first Bound for Glory, their WrestleMania. And I do remember there was the only title change at Bound for Glory. It's pretty much saying, hey, things are back to normal after WrestleMania. Every champion's back every champion is the same as the one coming in. That's ridiculous. Pretty much saying thank you for having wasted their time. I'm not trying to say Rhino should have been a 10-month title reign, but you could have given him 2 months. Unbelievable. Sometimes like TNA, we're so up Jarrett. We're so into Jarrett that don't realize that quite frankly, Jeff Jarrett was just as bad as Triple H, if not worse at times. Anyway, that's number 13. Number 12. Bray Wyatt is beaten by Goldberg. Remember what I said about Goldberg? It's like it feels like they tried to overcompensate to make him a world champion way after the time was finished. It was. I mean, it's like they realized we didn't treat him right in 2003, 2004, so let's make it right for 2016 and forward on. It's like, okay, he's going to do the bad booking, but you didn't have to do it at the expense of other people. Bray Wyatt should not have been pinned with Goldberg. And the very most, if you really want Goldberg to win the Universal title, nothing says you can have done multi-man match. You can have basically Daniel Bryan, Bray Wyatt, somebody else, Baron Corbin, and Goldberg pins Baron Corbin to win the Universal title. Because I felt like the moment you give the Universal title to the Fiend, it's like it can't just be beaten like he's just nothing. So that to me was an awful booking decision. Another awful booking decision, 11. Triple H beat CM Punk at Night of Champions 2011. What did he prove? It just proved that if you have somebody, you get somebody hot to that level. He used to be a Triple H was a wrestler. He would attach himself to the biggest, or at least the hottest superstar, basically verbally dissect him, and the other person has to follow in script can dissect Triple H back, and lo and behold, that person became cold. Triple H beating CM Punk served no purpose whatsoever. Now, if you want Triple H to kick out of GTS, I have no problem with that. That match actually felt big time, so it was justified he kicks out of one, and CM Punk kicks out of pedigree. I get it. But you can't justify to me why Triple H needed that win. If Triple H, after all he's done, can't believe that, if Triple H, after all he's done, really needed that win to validate him, let's be honest, and he never was a solid main event to begin with. That reeks of insecurity. That reeks of it. And that's number 11. Number 10, John Cena beats Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania 30. I really like that WrestleMania, and I really like that match up until the finish. I'm not trying to say that Cena should have turned heel, man. No, I don't think he should have turned heel. I don't even think it should have been the beginning of a heel turn. But you could have easily had John Cena basically be tempted taking the chair, tries to take the chair, he doesn't go through with it, or he goes through with it, but not hitting the chair on Bray Wyatt, but just taking the chair, losing on every other member of the Wyatts. But then all of a sudden, Bray Wyatt gets his sister Abigail 1, 2, 3, and that's it. So he got outsmarted. He didn't lose his cool. He just took out basically the external factors. You could have easily done that. Then you can even have the cage match at Extreme Rules the next month that ends with a wrestle crap way, and then Cena wins the blow-off match. That's fine. That was fine that he did. But it's like the only win that Bray Wyatt had toward the whole feud was a BS way. That's the problem. There's a reason why Jason Solomon called him the eater of pins before Pin Balor, because that's all they do. If that eel always loses, it means nothing in the long run. Anyway, number 9, Kofi Kingston being squashed by Brock Lesnar. On SmackDown, I know it's 2019, but I can't remember the date. Look, Kofi Kingston's reign had to end. I liked him as champion. I love when he won the title at WrestleMania 35. It had to happen. He couldn't go at WrestleMania 36 champion. I get that one. And I get that if he faced Brock Lesnar, he's going to lose. I think nobody really disagreed with it. But more so that Daniel Bryan was Sheamus, which, with all due respect, I didn't like the delivery. That I didn't like Daniel losing in 18 seconds to Sheamus, but him losing to Sheamus was to me the right call. I mean, he came from a year and was like, I think was like 5 years in a row that the Royal Rumble winner did not win the title of WrestleMania. This time it needed to happen. It's just the execution of it. In this case, Kofi Kingston versus Brock Lesnar, you could easily Cain Velasquez come out and basically, I don't know, do something that leads up to either Brock Lesnar getting disqualified or Kofi gets disqualified. I'm not saying Kofi had to pin Brock. I don't think that would have happened, but it's like either this or at least make it more competitive. It nearly became like a parody movie. Like it's like all the things that basically Kofi was basically had the biggest winning streak of his career for a long time. For those nearly 6 months, the guy was not getting pinned, was not getting beat. He always won even non-title matches. And then he loses like this. And the moment he loses, the aura of invisibility and the aura of winning streaks ends with Kofi. And honestly, in terms of single competition, not tag team, but single, I don't think he ever recovered from that. And Kofi deserves better. That's number 9. Number 8, John Cena defeating the Nexus at SummerSlam 2010. Where do I start there? I mean, you start off with basically a hot group, the Nexus, and you think that's going to lead up to something. And it does initially. Brian basically chokes out Justin Roberts, gets fired. Okay, I get it. Then he's reinstated as a mystery partner. Fine. I mean, Michael Tarver and basically Daryl Young being eliminated first, no problem with that. I've none. Right back eliminated, I think, R-Truth and John Morrison, no problem with that. I mean, Chris Jericho eliminated Ryback afterwards, cool. Heath Slater eliminated both Edge and Chris Jericho, should be a massive stuff. So basically, massive push, but it didn't go anywhere. Brian eliminates Tonga. So afterwards, Bret Hart getting disqualified, and that leads to somebody eliminates Heath Slater. So it's basically 2-on-2. Miz decides to interfere. Again, up to this, I get it. I get it. And the moment that Cena versus Justin Gabriel and Wade Barrett, I didn't mind that he got DDT'd and Cena basically just pins Justin Gabriel. I get it. But it should be immediately followed by Wasteland 1, 2, 3, and Wade Barrett being the only survivor. That's what it should have been. I mean, from there one, you just say they were just a bunch of pretenders. If they won that match, it doesn't matter if it's just one member. It basically increased the stock in that group. But it never happened. And there you go. I thought the Nexus already started off on the wrong foot. Sure, they had to basically make dues the next day on Raw and basically had John Cena losing to Wade Barrett in a fluke manner at Hell in a Cell to basically, we make do that original plan with the Wade Barrett winning. Well, that's not the same thing. Sometimes when you have to strike when the iron is hot, and if not, it's not the same thing. Number 7, Hulk Hogan beating Yokozuna at WrestleMania 9. This is just hilarious. I'll be honest, it always makes me laugh. I mean, Yoko lose to Brett. Basically, Yoko was built as a huge heel. And to be honest with you, I don't think he needed the BB title. At least not now. He didn't need that Rumble win. But you gave it to him, and it's like, okay, what are gonna do with him? They have him beat Bret Hart at WrestleMania on a fluke manner, okay. But WrestleMania usually ends with a face win at the end. Could have put it in the middle? No. That Hulk Hogan coming back and basically winning the title in like 20 seconds afterwards because Mr. Fuji decides to challenge Hogan just outside of helping Bret and all of a sudden challenge him to a WWE title match right now. If anything, Yoko should have lost it on Fuji and hammered him. Like you just barely got through the match with Bret. Why should you take another match? If you want to challenge him for later down that road, you could have understood it, but now no. And it felt like Bret was so swept under the rug after It's like, remember this? Remember how you were supposed to be a replacement for Hulk Hogan? Ah, never mind. It was just a joke. Now the real deal's there. Go back to mid-card, Bret. That's how it felt. As much as I feel it's hilarious, like Bret was basically cast in the upper mid-card afterwards for a while. It's like back to where you were before Hogan left. So that is insulting. That's one thing I think he has every right to be that Bret has every right to be angry at. So yeah. That's number 7, but at least Bret got to recovered and got his biggest win at WrestleMania 10. So that's awesome. Not everybody's that lucky though. Number 6, Charlotte beats Asuka at WrestleMania 34. Asuka won the Royal Rumble 2018, the first ever Royal Rumble women's winner. She was undefeated at Wrestle. She was undefeated, period. Sorry. And how do you reward that? By having Charlotte Flair tap her out. Not even she got pinned or whatever. She got tapped out. Because WWE had a strange fascination with Charlotte Flair. And only today, only this year, they realized maybe we need to cool it on her so that people might actually like her as a face. You think? And I have nothing against Charlotte. She's a great wrestler, but it's like it seems like if she's not in the world title scene for a long time, then either she takes hiatus or they don't know what to do with her. Seriously. And truth be told, sometimes I was annoyed in the first years or so. Every time she got somebody do a bit, give her a little bit of comeuppance, she would always smile and smirk afterwards, like completely underselling, no selling what her character received. So that takes away from basically the intensity of the match and quite frankly, the catharsis you're supposed to get from the results. So yeah, Asuka should have won that title match, and it's bad enough that happened once. It happened basically on one or two SmackDowns before WrestleMania 35 when Asuka was the SmackDown Women's Champion, and she loses via tap out to Charlotte Flair. And not only does Asuka not keep the title, she was thrown off the WrestleMania card and into the WrestleMania 35 pre-show battle royal, where she got eliminated by Sarah Logan. Like, what did Asuka do wrong, guys? Don't tell me you could have put if you really, really had it in you to have her have Charlotte Flair in the main event of WrestleMania 35. You could have basically done a fatal four-way with Asuka as the women's SmackDown Women's Champion, Becky Lynch as the Royal Rumble winner, Ronda Rousey as the Women's Champion, and just to take off the fans, you can ensure that basically she's an entitled spoiled brat of a person. Say Vince just throws Charlotte Flair just because in there. That could have been fine. And it actually would have been better. But anyway, that's number 6. From that same WrestleMania 35 that is, why did Shane McMahon decide that it'd be a great idea to beat The Miz? I know people might just say, oh, but why are you so obsessed with The Miz? I'll tell you why. I think because, quite frankly, not only was he promoted there, he was starting to become a good face. And I thought, hey, that might actually be the face turn actually cements him as a guy who could be a good face or a heel. He's already a good heel, but which one would cement him as a good face? I thought that was that one. He beat Sanity in an end cap match. He was showing to be kind of a badass, and out of nowhere, he's facing with Shane McMahon. And I thought it was after Shane put his hand on his dad, Shane McMahon, I think, assaulted his dad. I thought it was basically one recipe, easy recipe at WrestleMania is Miz wins. It doesn't have to be a squash, but Miz wins at the end. Instead, you have Miz deliver a superplex to Shane McMahon off the stage, and lo and behold, Shane is the one who pins Miz. None as a fluke. He's just rolls over on the Miz. Miz actually more taken out by the move than Shane. Okay. The next time they face at Money in the Bank 2019, Miz loses again in a cage match in which Shane kind of dominated and Shane had the time to leave and had the match won before him. And then Miz got tapped out after a beat down by Drew McIntyre and Elias, and Shane beat him by submission. This, and afterwards, they had the gods to that face turn didn't work. Well, of course. If the guy came off as being a winner as a heel, but all of a sudden as a loser as a face, of course it's not going to work the face turn. I know Miz isn't a long-term baby face, but don't tell me you could have tried harder there. You didn't. You tried to sabotage him. That's WrestleMania 35. Another WrestleMania horrible decision is Brock Lesnar ending the streak at WrestleMania 30. We're going to say, but pal, why are you saying that, pal? Well, I'll tell you this. Undertaker's streak maybe should have come to an end at one point, but not against Brock Lesnar, and certainly not in a match that basically was really bad. I still maintain to this day that you could have Undertaker win by DQ if you really were not intending Brock Lesnar losing. And Brock Lesnar destroying the Undertaker afterwards. While it was shocking at the moment that he lost, and he squashed John Cena on that year, after WrestleMania 31, you think there was some effect. No, there wasn't. Afterwards, I felt like Brock Lesnar was not as not insignificant, but it wasn't as significant as during that year. The guy who would end the streak should be somebody who's really significant. And in my opinion, if you really want to have some juice to streak, you have somebody else with another winning streak, undefeated WrestleMania, who beats The Undertaker at that point. And if it had to me, I would have made sure that Roman Reigns would not be in the world title scene at WrestleMania 31 because I would have made sure he'd be undefeated leading up to this, and he'd be the one ending the streak at WrestleMania 33. And then The Undertaker retires, bar a WrestleMania 36 match with AJ Styles. Apart from that, he wouldn't be seen. But no, Brock won, serves nothing, and it kind of deflated the crowd for later on for Daniel Bryan to win the title. So that's number 4. Number 3 is one event that I was in attendance for, the Montreal Screwjob at Survivor Series 1997. Why? Why, pal? Why? I'll tell you why. It wasn't necessary. And throughout this year, they toyed with the prospect of fatal 4-ways or triple threat match. I'm thinking, if that's the case, why couldn't you have transformed that match in a triple threat match? Or 4-way. The 4-way that we're supposed to have at the following month's pay-per-view. Why couldn't I have done it now? Heck, that is perfect. Shawn doesn't have to get beat. If Bret wins, he doesn't have to beat Shawn. You can have somebody who's basically well-placed like the pinfall, and nobody would bat an eye. You had Bret Hart. Undertaker wasn't in the book. You got to put Bret Hart versus The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels versus somebody, and that somebody would have been the guy pinned. If you're really, or if Shawn has to lose Bret has to lose the title, Shawn beats that guy. He doesn't beat Bret. There's so many ways you could have gone about it. I think it was boneheaded on both sides. Like, okay, cool, it has to be this. Why? Why? Like, it's like you made something you made something complicated that didn't need to be. And that's number 3. Number 2 from WCW of that same year, like a month later, Hulk Hogan beating Sting at Starrcade 97. Why is it in my worst decisions? It's my worst WWE decision, that is. Because Sting versus Hogan was easy to book. Sting did not need to squash Hulk Hogan in that match. Let's be honest, it didn't. At least not in my opinion. But it should have been dominated, and it should have been basically, rather than basically hulking up, it should have been stinging up. And the moment he stings up, then he destroys Hollywood Hogan, puts him in a Scorpion Deadlock, taps out. That's it. No, instead we had a match basically where for a long time it feels like Hogan's dominating the three right hands, Irish whip, big boot, leg drop as if it was a face, hooks on the tights, and a fast count by Nick Patrick. That wasn't a fast one, it was a normal count. By all means, Hogan won. And afterwards, Brother comes in. It's like, oh, I'm not gonna let this happen again. It just made me feel like it was a Simpsons like comedy. Like I'm not gonna make it happen. What happened? Like Brett was screwed, but Sting wasn't. It felt like Brett was basically being a bully. Like he had an aversion to any referee in this. So hits Sting Patrick. Then we start the match, and Sting wins the title. They did that kind of repeat ending on Nitro the following day. And it's ridiculous. It really feels like Eric Bischoff really and Hogan really didn't want to put over Sting. And saying about the shape, it's like, it doesn't matter. The story dictated for it to happen. If Shawn Michaels decided last minute, hey, I don't want to put Steve Austin, maybe it was a rumor there, but imagine if it actually happened. And afterwards, you had a referee or it was Mike Tyson, or not even Mike Tyson, Ric Flair coming in and say, oh, that's not going to happen like this. And Ric Flair chops a referee, and basically the match is restarted, and then Austin hits a stunner in 1, 2, 3, that would have deflated the crowd. Like sometimes you have to know when to basically call it quits, or you have to know when to basically press on the red button. Again, basically strike when the iron's hot. That was the right moment for Sting to win the title and win it fair and square. But that's number two. What could be number one? What could be complete number one? I'll tell you this, it's from the same person, and that's two different WrestleMania. It's a tie. You know which one I'm going to take. WrestleMania is going to be WrestleMania 2. I can't believe that Adrian Adonis won against Uncle Elmer. Of course, Uncle Elmer was the biggest babyface there was. Uncle Elmer should have won that match. It was a terrific match. Even I can't believe that. No, the real number one is WrestleMania. It's a tie. It's both WrestleMania 19, where Triple H went over Booker T for the world title, and slash Triple H beating Owen Hart to keep the European title at WrestleMania 14. Both to me are disgusting. Because it's not just about the match ending. It's what it represents. For the following in 2003, for the old months, you think Booker T, he eliminates The Rock in Battle Royal. He has a shot. If there was ever time to make him as world champion as a babyface, and WWE made, not WWE made, but WWE made, this was the time. And we should have seen the signs. Triple H, don't forget that Booker T pinned Triple H in a tag match on the Raw before WrestleMania, which is a sign that he's not going to win at WrestleMania, and he didn't. And that's so BS when I hear WWE or people saying, well, Goldberg wasn't coming in, so it's like he felt like he shouldn't have cheapened out this win. It's like, you could. Ric Flair did it all the time. He didn't cheapen out. And you could have easily lost at WrestleMania and won the title back at Backlash, if that's how you felt. And people would have been down with that. It was Booker T's time, and not just because it was Booker T's time. It felt like also like it's one thing to, hey, you hit the pay-per-view 2 and that's over. No, Triple H basically receives the acid, kicks out. I don't know if he received a bookhand. Yeah, foot in the ropes. Then he hits the Harlem Hangover, and Booker T's more hurt by it than Triple H. Triple H is a pedigree and lays there for like a minute before putting one arm on Booker T, 1, 2, 3. Again, what bad business would have been done if Booker T won at WrestleMania and then lost next month? Or what bad blood? You didn't have to have a long reign for Booker T as long as the reign happened. That's gross. And it felt like Triple H having to get that win over WWE like he had to do with Sting at WrestleMania 31. That's how it felt to me. The Owen Hart thing is because Owen Hart has never been as popular as he used, has never been as popular, period. Like, I always felt like you have easily given the title to Owen Hart the Royal Rumble in 1998. What was in the Rumble that year? What was he facing Undertaker? Undertaker and Kane only need a skit. You could have easily done a skit. You could have easily done this as a post-match angle at the Royal Rumble. That's the only reason why that match exists, for the post-match angle. If not, it was no purpose. The match was not even that good. You could have easily done that match. Owen Hart wins the title. He loses it. Even worse, even better. Like I said, that booking idea. Triple HBK wouldn't even have to really wrestle to win back the title. And that's the brilliant thing, in my opinion, to establish as a heel. He doesn't lay a finger on Owen Hart apart from pinning him. And then you really branch off Owen Hart against Triple H. Owen Hart is not winning the European title at Raw on a Raw against Goldust. He wins that at WrestleMania. In this case, they had him win against Goldust, not even Triple H, against Goldust. You lose in an impromptu match, which I don't know why you even counted. Then you go to WrestleMania and think, okay, Owen Hart's gonna get his revenge. I mean, after the screw job, the Harts better get one comeuppance. Basically, the Harts better get one back, better get their revenge. No, they get low blow. Yeah, Owen gets low blow. Pedigree 1, 2, 3. Didn't feel like Triple H beat Owen Hart. It felt like Triple H and the McMahons and Shawn by proxy got one more laugh out of the Hart's family. It was gross. Like, not every Triple H win at WrestleMania felt gross, but this one, those two felt gross. Like him versus Triple Jericho, it's like, okay, Triple H comes back. I get it. But Owen Hart and Booker T were very disgusting. Even then, I was date generous because I didn't want to go to the original list, which was a lot of Triple H winning at WrestleMania. I mean, he should have won against Brock Lesnar. Sure as hell should have won the WrestleMania 16 main event. He should have been the final two, should have been Rock, Triple H, and Rock winning. But I wasn't as disgusted with those wins as I was with WrestleMania 14 and WrestleMania 19. But that's my opinion. The only wins I felt like Triple H character should have had at WrestleMania, and that's right, he should have lost all of them but two. The WrestleMania 18 against Chris Jericho and WrestleMania 35 should have won against Batista. Every other match at WrestleMania always felt like he should have lost them. And he would have done nothing, would have no harm to his legacy whatsoever. I love him as a booker, but man, I'm happy he's not wrestling anymore. But that's my list. Let me know what you think. Let me know in the comments down below. Please respond. Please watch it. See you later. Bye.